A special thanks to Russell B. For this quote from President Gordon B. Hinckley. It comes from the Four Cornerstones of Faith, the First Presidency Message in the Ensign magazine, February 2004, page 6. Listen very carefully to this statement. It is amazing. Speaking of the Book of Mormon, Gordon B. Hinckley said, "The evidence for its truth and for its validity in a world that is prone to demand evidence lies not in archaeology or anthropology, though these may be helpful to some. It lies not in word research or historical analysis, though these may be confirmatory. The evidence for its truth and validity lies within the covers of the book itself. The test of its truth lies in reading it. It is a book of God. Reasonable people may sincerely question its origin, but those who have read it prayerfully have come to know by a power beyond their natural senses that it is true, that it contains the Word of God, and that it outlines saving truths of the everlasting gospel, that it came forth by the gift and power of God to the convincing of the Jews and Gentiles that Jesus is the Christ." Let's examine this quote for a minute, because I believe the LDS prophet is greasing the tracks for the Book of Mormon to ultimately be accepted on different grounds than it is today. Rest assured, if Mormonism had any physical proofs of the Book of Mormon, you would see that everywhere in the world. You'd see it on billboards. You'd hear them talking about it, if they had any. But because they don't have any, the prophet gives statements like this. Listen again to what he is saying here. The evidence for its truth, for its validity, in a world that is prone to demand evidence, lies not in archaeology or anthropology, though these may be helpful to some. First of all, there are no archaeological evidences or anthropological evidences that support the Book of Mormon. So when he says, though they may be helpful to some, it's a red herring, because there are none that can be helpful to some. Then he goes on and he says, it lies not in word research or historical analysis, though these may be confirmatory. Again, there is no word research or historical analysis that confirms the Book of Mormon. So this is another non-event for him to say. And then he continues, the evidence for its truth and validity lies within the covers of the book itself. The test of its truth lies in the testimony of the three witnesses says, we saw and held the plates. I suggest to you ever so strongly that this holding of the plates was with spiritual eyes, just like every other claim the Book of Mormon gives. The testimony of the 8 witnesses seems to be more material in nature. Let me give you the highlights of that. I'm not editing out anything important. It says, be it known unto all nations, kindreds, tongues, and people, unto whom the work shall come, that Joseph Smith, Jr., the author and proprietor of this work, has shown unto us the plates of which have been spoken, which have the appearance of gold, and many of the leaves of the said Smith has translated. We did handle with our hands, and we also saw the gravings thereon, all of which has the appearance of ancient work and curious workmanship. They go on to say that the said Smith showed it to them, and that they saw and hefted the plates. Okay? We've talked about the Joseph Smith family. Remember, everybody in that group of the 11 were related somehow, okay? We talked about the Joseph Smith family having an extremely wild magic worldview. All of the Whitmer witnesses believed in seer stones, dowsing sticks, and tools to see and discern the spiritual world. Hiram Page, the only one of the 8 witnesses without the surname Smith or Whitmer, was a visionary. BYU professor Dean Jesse, in his Papers of Joseph Smith, acknowledges that Page also used a seer stone for hunting buried treasure. So here are the 8 witnesses. All are mystics. All are related. Their collective testimony, again without a date, author, or location, but in all probably penned by Joseph Smith, states that Joseph showed them the plates, that they did handle them with their hands and saw the engravings thereon, and they had seen and hefted them. Seems pretty straightforward that these guys actually had the plates. But Grant Palmer notes in Insider's View of Mormon Origins that, listen carefully, and we're almost done, on 25th March 1838, Martin Harris testified publicly that none of the signatories to the Book of Mormon saw or handled the physical records. His statement, made at the height of Ohio's banking-related apostasy, became the final straw and what caused apostles Luke S. Johnson, Lyman E. Johnson, John F. Boynton, and High Priest Stephen Burnett and 70 Warren Parish to exit the church. Stephen Burnett, in a letter dated 15 April 1838, 3 weeks after this meeting, wrote to Lyman Johnson, quote, "I have reflected long and deliberately upon the history of this church and weighed the evidence for and against it, loath to give it up. But when I came to hear Martin Harris state in public that he never saw the plates with his natural eyes, only in vision or imagination, neither Oliver nor David and also the 8 witnesses never saw them, and hesitated to sign that instrument for that reason, but were persuaded to do it, the last pedestal gave way. In my view, our foundation was sapped and the entire superstructure fell in heaps." Question number 4. What significance could these actual geographical locations, which were all located within 200 miles of Joseph Smith's home, what coincidence could they play in the construction of the Book of Mormon? Now, watch your screen. We're going to bring up these names, all right? These were locations that were in Joseph Smith's neighborhood within 200 miles of him, all right? We have Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. We have Oneida, New York, Angola, New York, Morgantown, PA, Jacobsburg, PA, Alma, Quebec, Shilohi, Ohio, Kiskamentis River, Ohio, Morin, Quebec, Sherbrooke, Quebec, Tecumseh, Quebec, and Ripley, Maine. All right? Now let's go through those and see if there are any types of plagiaristic names that Joseph could have used in the Book of Mormon. So we go to the first one, Lehigh. Lehigh Valley, PA, we have Lehigh. Father Lehigh. Is it a coincidence? Well, maybe. You know, there's a Lehigh here, Lehigh Valley. Maybe that's a coincidence. Let's go to the next one. Oneida, New York. Oh, there's an Oneida in the Book of Mormon. It's amazing. Okay, let's go to Angola, New York. There is an Angola in the Book of Mormon. Now, maybe a really far-fetched thing, but remember, ever since we've been studying the Book of Mormon, we've been saying, listen, did Joseph Smith get this information from golden plates written long ago, or did he take it from another source? If he took it from other sources, you know it's a plagiarism and you know it's false. We go to Morgantown, PA. We come up with Morianton. Now, you might think that's kind of far away. It really isn't. All you have to do is take the I in Morianton and put a G there, and you have Morganton, like Morgantown. We go to Jacobsburg, PA. We have Jacob Ugoth. Jacob Ugoth versus Jacobsburg. Again, if you take 2 letters and change them there, you have Jacobsburg. We go to Alma, Quebec. Straight across, we've got another Alma. We go to Shilohi, Ohio. We have Shilohi in the Book of Mormon. We go to Kiskamentis River. We have Kishkumen. You know if you've played a game, if you're sitting there giving your kids and telling them a story and at bedtime and you're making it up and you're trying to think of a name of somebody and you look over on the bookshelf and there is Sarah Tall and Proud and you say, and the girl's name was Sarah. You just pull it from the things you're looking at. Same stuff. Morin, Quebec, we have a character in the Book of Mormon named Moron. Now, I don't think Joseph Smith knew what that would mean in our day and age, but I think he took it from Quebec. Sherbrooke, Quebec, we have Sure. Tecumseh, Quebec, we have Tiancum. And Ripley, Maine, we have Ripley Ancum. Okay, so in the name game, I think that you can see that the fun never ends with the Book of Mormon.